All right, guys, once again, good morning to everyone. Hope everyone had a great weekend. And for everyone tuning in on YouTube, hope you had a great weekend as well. Smash that like button and that subscribe button so that you can follow us every single day. Every single day you can expect that we provide a pre-market analysis, trade of the day video, and throughout the weeks and months we offer a lot of free educational content that you can find on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. So let's get started. We were just talking, before we went live, we just were talking about Bitcoin and how it broke above 50,000. It hit a high of 50,700, pulled back immediately, now it's trading sub 49,000. Why do I bring that up? Because then you've got some stocks in the stock market that are heavily correlated with Bitcoin. So the first one I want to talk about is Mara. So for all of you in stack trading who are swinging 38 calls on Mara, like I called out last week, congratulations. Today, I'm cashing out my call options. I'm done with this swing because my options do expire this Friday. So I am going to cash out. It hit a high of 44.60 almost, but it's pulled back to 42 because Bitcoin has pulled back, 2,000 points almost 2,000 points. So you're going to have Mara and Riot. Both of these stocks are going to react and trade almost exactly to the T with Bitcoin. So with that being said, I'm going to keep an extremely close eye on Bitcoin today. Bitcoin is all over the news, broke above 50,000 for the first time, and I want to see Bitcoin rally again. I do watch Bitcoin on the hourly chart because the 5-minute chart just drives me insane on Bitcoin. So I do put it on the 1 hour, and right now it has a nice consolidation. I want to see it break above 50,000 again. If it does, you definitely want to be in Mara and Riot. Now, from a day trade perspective on Mara, I would like Mara to really hold this like 41.40 area. If we can hold that area, and if Bitcoin holds as well, we can maybe find some support here, bottom curl, and go long Mara along with Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin just starts yanking, you're going to see Mara fail that 41, and we can go for a short on Mara. I like Mara and Riot because they're both very liquid, very, very nice stocks to trade, and you get filled very quickly, so that's pretty nice. With Riot, I want to see it hold the 53.50 area, right? And that's a zone. It's not an exact price, it's a zone, right? The 53.50 area. If it can hold that, and we can bottom curl, that'd be nice, right? So what I'm saying is this: I would love for a little pullback at the open on both Mara and Riot. Hold those zones that I'm calling out, and if we can get a bottom curl on the 5-minute time frame, or bottoming tail bar, then I'd like to go long. If Mara and Riot just immediately rip, with Riot, I want to see it rip above $56 for me to feel confident to go long Mara, put stops at Riot, and to put stops 54.50. So you're talking about $1.50 risk. With Mara, if it immediately rips 42.50 area, if it rips that, put stops at 41.76, 75. So you're talking about almost $1 risk on Mara. The risk is smaller on Mara. So I personally love trading Mara more than Riot. Also because Merrill Edge doesn't allow me to short Riot for some reason. They do allow me to short Mara. So that's why I tend to just focus on Mara. So Mara is definitely going to be on my A list today. Bitcoin is pulling a little bit right now. So there you can see Riot and Mara pulling as well. So like I said, guys, today I'm going to be watching Bitcoin like a hawk. Another name that I like is Futu. So check this out. Let me pull up a 5-day time frame on Futu. Futu was at $204 the other day, pulled back to 144. Now it's gapping up. It gapped up to 172 bucks and it pulled like almost 20 points. But the reason why I bring it up is because freaking JP Morgan, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at the upgrades downgrades channel. Where's my Futu? Yep, Morgan Stanley, excuse me. Morgan Stanley gives it $253 price target. You're telling me, so what Morgan Stanley is telling you is that FUTU is $100. They value this at $100 above its current price that it's trading at. I think FUTU will definitely get bought up today. It is selling off a little bit in pre-market from that gap up, but I really like FUTU today on the long side. If FUTU breaks above 160, 161, I'm gonna go long, put my stops at 155. It is a little bit of a range, so be careful with it. Don't go too big on it in case, if 5 points is too much for you, don't touch it. Just don't touch it. You can keep your stops a little tighter, maybe like 157, 158, but I'm really going to give this one room to move because I think this stock could easily trade back to 170, 180. It was there just a couple days ago, and that price target from Morgan Stanley I really like. So FUTU is going to be on my A list today. For some reason, if the market is weak and the market just starts to sell off, if FUTU breaks that pre-market low of like 154 and change, you can short it and put your stops at like 157, 156. Keep your stops real tight, and we can go from there. We can probably gap fill it. So I like FUTU. So FUTU and MARA are two of my 6. Another one that I'm going to keep a very close eye on is Twitter. So Twitter received a really nice price target upgrade today. It's already had a pretty significant move. It received a $95 price target from Loop Capital. Loop Capital is an analyst that we follow closely. Here's the thing though. Look at the daily chart on Twitter. It's literally, so the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, it's had 10 green candles on the daily chart. I do think Twitter needs to cool down a bit, consolidate, breathe. Which is why even with a $95 price target in pre-market, it's not doing much. It's trading on the upper Bollinger Band, and the RSI on the daily is at 85.52, including pre-market data. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on it. If Twitter wants to sell off, then we can short it. I would need to see it break below 71.50 for me to short it. But I'm kind of more inclined on the long side of Twitter. If Twitter breaks above 71.95 area, I'm going long, putting stops at 71.50. You're only risking what, 40 cents, 50, not even 50 cents on the trade for a potential rip to the upside. I really like Twitter. I'm gonna keep a very close eye on it. Another one that I like, PayPal. So PayPal is gapping up very nicely. This is all-time highs on PayPal, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull it up here. Yep, gapping up into all-time highs. I want to be careful with PayPal because on the daily, it's trading at 79.69 on the RSI. It is trading above its upper Bollinger Band. The upper Bollinger Band is sitting at 304.42. So, we got to be careful and not going, not like swinging PayPal from these levels and just not going too big on the trades, expecting more rip to the upside. If PayPal fails 305, I'm going in for the short. However, if PayPal rips above 307, going in for the long, putting stops at 305.50 or maybe even 305. So either way, it's a $2 risk. If it fails 305, put stops at 307. If it rips above 307, put stops at 305. You're risking $2 on the trade. If it rips higher, first target is 310. So that's a 3-point upside, risking $2. If it fails 305, let me see here. My target on it, my first target would be 304 and then 302. So that's what I'm looking at, right? For my targets on PayPal to the downside if it fails. So that's another name that I like. Another cheap name that I really want to watch today is, where are you? SNDL. So SNDL came out with some news, and as you guys know, it's one of the pot stocks. I bring up SNDL, but I'm also just going to categorize it with all the pot stocks. I'm going to keep a close eye on, TLRY, SNDL, ACB, APHA, because these stocks are all gapping up in pre-market. We're going to continue to have volatility on these names. In the stock alerts channel, I did put that SNDL announced a $22 million strategic investment with Indiva. Not sure who Indiva is, but nonetheless, the stock immediately ripped on that news, and it's flagging pretty nicely. So it's a cheap name. We can get in with good size and make some good money on it. If it rips above $2.29, you definitely want to be in it. You can put your stops at like $2.20. So risking 29 cents on the trade for a potential rip to the upside, right? Upside risk, rip, my first target would be like $2.40 range. Second target, $2.50. If it continues to rip, $2.75. So that's kind of like what I'm seeing here on SNDL. I'll keep a close eye on it. But like I said, I'm going to categorize that with the other pod stocks. Two other names, and then I'm going to pass it on to Taj. The energy sector is really hot. You've got oil prices that are increasing. There's a lot of demand in the oil sector, and it's primarily due to because of the storms that's happening in the Northeast and the demand for electricity, right? So that's in play today. We normally don't trade energy sector as often, but I'm going to keep an eye on the XLE, which is the ETF for the energy sector. If it breaks below 45.50, you can go in for a quick short, but I'd actually rather see it rip above 45.85, go to the long side. First target's pre-market high of about $46, and just continue to rip it to the upside. I think the energy sector today is going to be one of the stronger sectors in the S&P 500, and I am going to keep a close eye on it, and it's going to be on my A list. Last name, and then I'll pass it on to Taj. PLTR. They reported earnings. Straight shoot down. It was in pre-market. Was trading at almost $35. Traded down to 28. Found some support. Look at this beautiful V-shaped recovery here. What is this actually? This is an inverse head and shoulders. So this is actually a good long trade right here in pre-market with stops right under that shoulder at like 26.60. So I would love to see PLTR recover even more. If it breaks above 30.45, you definitely want to be in it. I'll put stops at 29.50 area, maybe even 29.40, right where like the 20 MA on the 5-minute time frame is trading at. If PLTR fails $29, I'm going in for the short. So that's what I'm seeing on PLTR. So with that being said, Taj, I'm sorry I took a little bit more time. Pass it on to you, brother.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. I think you went over pretty much a lot of the A-list names we'll be keeping an eye on. I'm just gonna add a couple of more that I think will be pretty nice to keep an eye on. And one of which is actually SCKT. So this name popped up on my scanners, and it was a penny stock. Straight at $3.20. It's now up near $11. And why? It's because they unveiled that the DuraShield scanner for iPhone 12s. I guess they're going to be launching that for the iPhone 12s. So this is big. I mean, you have a company like this, little small penny stock company working with Apple. This could be a real move. The volume is very heavy. And you have a nice bull flag starting to form here. So the way I see it, if it breaks above around $11, you can play it long, 30 stops around 10, 9.50. You want to give it a little more wiggle room and, see what this name can do. The only downside about this name is that there are no options available. So you will have to trade the security outright. So keep that in mind. But other than that, it looks really prime for a breakout if it can reclaim that $11 price range. So that's going to be one name I'll keep an eye on. Another name is just the overall market, the S&P 500. We had a nice gap up this morning. The SPYs did gap up to around 395.76. We have pulled back pretty significantly. We pulled back about 2 points, but nonetheless, we are still above the all-time highs of Friday, which were at 392.90. Towards the end of the market on Friday, the SPYs had a big run, ran from pretty much the midday price of about 391 all the way up to 393. It's been holding nicely. So the way I see it, if the SPYs can reclaim around 394.20-ish, 394.30-ish, we could look for longs, those stops around 393.70. However, if it starts to break down below 393.60, we could possibly look for a short. I'd be a little hesitant towards shorting the SPYs because of the daily setup that it has. This is a fresh bounce off of the 8MA, along with about 4 or 5 days of consolidation right up here near these highs. So today's going to be the true test to see whether or not we have some real follow through, or if we're going to have price reject and maybe even give up the 8MA. So I think today, and if not today, the next few days are going to be a really good gauge of where the market wants to go in the short term. So definitely keep an eye on the SPYs. Also, another name I like is Microsoft. Microsoft received price upgrades. I believe the price upgrade was, let me double check on this. Price upgrade was by Wheatbush to $300 from $285. And what I really like about Microsoft is look at the daily chart on this as well. There's a lot of consolidation going on right off of its daily 8MA. If Microsoft is able to hold this and break out around 245, 246, this thing is primed to go on a run. All it needs is some little push, right? The market to help catapult it. Something like we received today, price target upgrade, to really help it push out of that out of this consolidation. So with that being said, I'll be keeping a very, very close eye on Microsoft. Like I said, you can throw your entries right here around 246. That's the all-time high. Throw your stops around 245.40, 245.50. So you're looking at about a 50 to 60 cent risk. And this is a play where you're playing Microsoft into its all-time highs. So like I said, that's going to be one of the names at the very, very top of my list. Another name I like, Alex briefly went over it with SNDL, but I also like TLRY. TLRY actually did receive a price target upgrade. I believe by a lower tier analyst of $30.25 from $24. So it's actually trading above that price target. However, it is an upgrade, right? So there are analysts coming out and boosting the stock up for the most part. So the way I see TLRY, the volume looks really good so far during the pre-market hours. We can start trading back above $31.25. We can look for a long, 30 stops around 30.75. Looking at about a 50-cent risk on the play. And, if we can break out above that pre-market high of around 31.70, I mean, TLRY has plenty of room to run. You don't really have any resistance to around 32.30. The next resistance is around $35, right? Or maybe this is the relief bounce we'll be getting off of TLRY after the 3-day sell-off it's had up there from that $77 price. So definitely be keeping an eye on TLRY. It's gonna more so be on my B list than my A list, but if it starts picking up some momentum, then I'll go ahead and keep a close eye on it. One of the last names I just want to watch for the day is actually NEO. NEO has been a stock that, we talked about it over the past few days. It has these random pops throughout the day, specifically in the morning. So you can take advantage of these pops if you're just able to get in at the right time. So NEO, again, it was able to bounce off of that 8MA and 20 down here about a week ago, and trade up near that 64.60. Remember, there was huge resistance at 64.52. Price was rejected 3 days ago at 64.60. However, now we're right back down to the 8MA and the 20MA. So, could today be the day that we have another nice bounce and maybe retest that $64.50 price target sometime this week? There's a chance that could happen. So, with that being said, I like NEO. It starts to break out around 60.48, 60.50. You can throw your stop around 60.20. You're looking at about a 30-cent risk on this play. And there's really no resistance until that pre-market high of around 60.75. So if it starts to break out above that, next area of resistance is around $61. So you have a 1-to-1, 2-to-1 setup right out of the gates with Neo. And this is another name that will also just be on my B list if it starts gaining some momentum out of the gates. Some other names that I just kind of want to keep an eye on, not necessarily play too much, but just watch is CCIB. CCIB is a name that had a huge day on Friday, specifically right before the close. CCIB ran. It ran for about $35 all the way up to 42 if you include the after hours. And it's pulling back a bit. It's pulling back about 2 points from the close, 39 or close to $40. It's currently trading around 38, but it's still maintaining most of the rally that it had on Friday. So, and the volume looks pretty good during the pre-market hours as well. So the way I see it, if CCIB starts to trade back about 38.50, get ready to play it long. 30 stops around $38, and see if this thing can go on another run. This is a stock that if it tests out that high again, 41.37, you can see it really start to pick back up. So I'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Let's get this. Oh, SCKT. Yep. Sorry, man. I just saw your message. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much my watch list. A lot of the names that Alex went over are going to be some of the A-list names. Twitter, PLTR, Futu as well, Mara, Riot. But also, just keep in mind some of your view list names. So, gather a list of about 3 or 4 names that you really want to keep a very close eye on right out of the gates, and just keep track of those. Pick some stocks that are within your price range that you can afford, either the stock or the options contracts on them, and just keep an eye on them. Mark those levels down, and let's see if we can have some better luck with volatility today compared to the last 3 days of last week.
Yeah, exactly. I think today the volatility is going to be much better than the last 3 trading days. So a lot of the stocks that we've got are breaking the entry points that we're talking about. So we're just gonna have to wait and sit on our hands a little bit so that we can identify a better entry point on some of these names. So we'll call it out as we see it. There's a lot of stocks moving in pre-market, so make sure to pick your top 2 to 4 that you can watch very closely. And remember, we're technical and momentum traders, so that's what we're looking for here. So for everyone tuning in on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.